Yo, what's going on, guys? In this video I'm going to be talking about official versus unofficial servers and which one would be best for you, so stay tuned.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long.
Yo, what's going on, guys? I'm Jay Cartere from the Cartere server, so you can probably tell that I'm going to be a little bit biased towards unofficial servers. But I want to give you guys as much information as I can to let you make the decision yourself on whether playing on an official server or playing on an unofficial server will be the best experience for you. Now, I did do a video similar to this a few months ago on official servers versus player dedicated servers, but since then unofficial PC hosted servers have been released and those really changed the game. Now, I've been renting a server from Nitrado. If you want to do that yourself, you can use the link in the description or go to jaycartere.com/Nitrado and that will help out the channel. But Nitrado also provides servers for the official servers to wildcards, so you're getting the same stability on these unofficial servers as you're getting on the official servers now. So it really takes away the whole fact that player dedicated servers were really unstable and you could lose a lot of your progress in like a week or something, and the saves could just corrupt and all that sort of stuff. And they generally, you know, running a server from another console is generally just not a good way to run a server, and a lot of those servers would go down and, you know, it'd just be a terrible mess. Now we have a more level playing field, so it's interesting to see which servers are for you. So let's start with the pros and cons of official. First of all, we have harder survival. It is definitely harder to survive on official servers. There are less resources, and those less resources and the scarcity of resources encourage stealing, raiding, and general PvP. So that is a pro. You want to encourage PvP and stealing and raiding and all that sort of stuff, and encourage making enemies, because that makes the game a whole lot more exciting. And I understand that some people may want that hardcore survival experience, and you'll definitely get that from an official server on official rates. Second pro that can be a con depending on who you are is there are no rules on official servers. It's basically a wild west out there. The only people who generally set the rules on official servers are the Alpha tribe, and that's the most powerful tribe on the server. Third pro is Alpha tribes can be helpful. I've learned a lot about the game from Alpha tribes or from certain allies and Alpha tribes that we've made friends with over our time. Now, I did spend 3 months playing on an official server, and since I have started playing Ark again, I have only been playing on my unofficial server, and I believe it's been almost 3 months, something like that. And when I stopped playing Ark, I decided that I would never play on an official server again, and I just wouldn't play Ark unless I had the ability to rent my own server. And they gave us that ability, and now I'm having way more fun than I ever had before playing Ark. And that's because I'm playing on my own unofficial server. So let's get into the cons of playing on an official server. First of all, it is very time consuming. The rates on official servers are silly. It takes hours to grind and hours to tame. Of course, these rates are a little offset if you're in a bigger tribe, but it's definitely not suited for solo players. If you want to be a solo player, I would highly encourage you to not play on official servers. Of course, you can, you know, upgrade to industrial forges, chemistry benches, all that sort of late game stuff that does make the grind a little bit more manageable. And you can also invest in creating kibble in order to tame dinos more quickly, but you can still spend an hour taming a dino, and I do not believe that that is a good source of gameplay. I don't believe that's good gameplay at all, to wait an hour for a dino to tame. I think it shouldn't take any more than 20 minutes to tame a dino. I know you can multitask, one person can watch the dino, other people can do other things, but I just don't believe that's cool in my personal opinion. It's also very life consuming and stressful. People will wait until you're offline and wipe you because PvP, like actual PvP, is too risky. it takes a lot of resources to actually engage in a real fight against people, and generally people are trying to gain the most profit for the least amount of resources. So people will wait until you're offline and you're not able to defend your base so that they can rob all your stuff, expend the least amount of resources, and get the most amount of stuff. So you'll find a lot of PvB, player versus base, on official servers, and less PvP, because the low rates and the low amount of resources and the scarcity of resources mean that you really want to maximize profits and minimize any sort of collateral damage. And I understand it. It's just not good gameplay in my opinion. And it can be very, very stressful if you take hours and you spend a lot of time building your base and whatnot, and then you log off and you know that at any point someone can come and destroy your base. It's just very life consuming, and it's just not cool. Another con is alpha tribes can be dicks. You can find really, really bad alpha tribes that will come and be terrible bastards and, you know, treat you terribly, and they won't allow you to build any power because they're scared of their power being taken. And you'll find this a lot on official servers because it generally requires people to dedicate a lot of time into the game. And when you dedicate that much time into the game and you don't really have a personal real life because you're playing the game so much, your identity becomes intrinsically linked to the game, and then you feel attacked when someone attacks you on the game. And a lot of people become very, very elitist. They have this elitist mentality. They think newer players, like, they're disgusted by them. They don't like newer players because they don't know enough about the game. They call people noobs, and noobs are terrible for some reason. You don't want to teach them to become better at the game, because if they do become better at the game, then they can take your power and then you are nothing. So you'll find a lot of people like that, a lot of saddles who have no life and play the game like that in this game. So that's something to be aware of, and they may have a bad day and decide to stomp on your base and your hard work and get rid of that real quick, and it can take ages for you to build back up again. So definitely that is something to worry about. And another con is the community is toxic. The community is largely toxic on Ark, on official servers. You'll find a lot of people just being douchebags and, you know, just being terrible people and being negative and being trolls and just trying to ruin your day. You'll find a lot of that in Ark, and again, I believe that's down to, you know, people having to dedicate so much of their life into it that they feel like Ark is their life at that point. And, you know, the community being toxic also leads to you not really being able to trust anyone, because anyone can just be lying to you. You get a lot of insiding, people who join your tribe and then destroy your tribe from the inside, or ally raiding, people who ally with you in order to bypass your turrets and destroy your stuff. You get a lot of that sort of stuff on Ark, and you really don't know who you can trust, which is pretty much like the real world, so it's kind of like a microcosm of that, but it's just not good for gameplay in my opinion. You'll also find people duping, duplicating items, and cheating in Ark on official servers. Like, there's a lot of that. I think even since the new servers came out, there's already a new way to duplicate items and cheat. So you definitely don't want to be involved in that. And when you have other people cheating in the online game and duping and doing that sort of stuff, you kind of have to do the same in order to be on a level playing field, and that's just not cool. It's just not cool. Now let's talk about unofficial PC hosted servers, where it's at in my opinion. But if you like official servers, then I'm not going to be out here saying, oh, you should definitely not play on official servers. I'm not that kind of person. There will be people who I think will comment on this video and be like, oh, you should play official because unofficial is for babies or something like that. And as I said, that elitist mentality is really disgusting, and that is what happens when you have no life and you have to dedicate all your hours to a game. It's just not healthy. But I fully respect anyone who wants to play the game the way they want to play it. I don't give a shit. It's not my experience that you're changing. Unofficial PC servers, and I'm going to be talking about unofficial PC servers with boosted rates. Of course, there are unofficial PCs hosted servers that don't have boosted rates, but at that point I'm feeling like, you know, what's the point? Because official rates are just disgusting in my opinion. If you want to host your own Ark server, then I recommend renting one from Nitrado. Nitrado handle all my server needs for the Cartere Ark server on the PS4, and they're also the official server provider for Wildcard. They've been stable and reliable for me, so if that's what you're looking for, Nitrado is the right pick. Go to jaycartere.com/Nitrado to rent your Ark server today and help out the channel in the process. Now, here are some pros. Boosted servers allow you to have more fun and less grinding. This is especially true on my Cartere Cartel server. I've set it up so it's balanced in terms of the rates and PvP and stuff, but it's much less grinding and much more fun. Now, I don't believe in having 100 times harvesting like some servers, which I think is absolutely crazy. We've got 15 times harvesting over there, and that makes a big difference. Boosted servers also encourage you to engage in more PvP because you can rebuild faster. Now, when resources are less scarce and you have more resources to put into PvP and you're not worried about rebuilding and all that sort of stuff, then you can actually engage in more PvP. You don't have to wait until someone's offline in order to raid them. You can actually have fun and engage in PvP, and I think that is how the game should be played, in my opinion. You can also find rules on many servers, and that can be a pro or a con depending on the rules and depending on if you like those rules or not. But you can definitely find rules that apply to the type of community that you want to be in. So that can be a good thing, that can be a bad thing. You'll generally find a more friendly and welcoming community on unofficial PC hosted servers, because you don't have to deal with all the toxicity of official servers, which basically house pretty much most people who are playing the game. Like, they just come in and they go into official servers straight away. They don't go into unofficial because maybe they don't know about that. They have to learn about that through, you know, maybe a YouTube video or learning about it through other people or that sort of stuff. But generally, when people join the game, they will be playing official servers. So that's where you're going to get most of the dicks. If you get raided or wiped, it's generally not as bad, so you'll have less stress sleeping at night. When you have, for example, a 15 times harvesting, 25 times taming server, it's not that bad if you lose a Pteranodon. It's not that bad if someone gets in and they steal all your metal. Of course, it's not great, but it's not like, oh, I gotta spend 2 days to get back to where I was. It's not that bad. It's fair enough, and I believe that's way better. You don't want to be worrying about the game all day. I don't believe that's healthy at all. You can also rent your own server from Nitrado and only allow people who you want to play with on your server. Remember to use the link in the description. It really helps out the channel. But if you don't want to play with random people, or you only want to play with a select amount of people in your community, then you can definitely do that. You can create a password protected server and you can play with who you want to play with. Although I do personally believe that having random people and people who are going to be bastards on your server is going to make it more exciting in the long run. You don't want the overwhelming majority of people on your server to be bastards and to be toxic people, but you want at least a few villains to make it exciting and to have some PvP. Nitrado actually hosts some official servers too, so your rented server will be just as stable as official servers. I've found that in my experience of renting a server, that my servers stay up and they're just as stable as official servers, so you don't really have to worry about how bad it was with player dedicated servers like way back. You can have the same amount of stability on your unofficial server than as you do have on the official server. So now let's talk about the cons. So it's generally easier to survive because resource scarcity isn't as much of an issue depending on the rates. So there's also always different rates and whatnot. Raiding for blueprints and resources is still an incentive to raid though, because sometimes you don't want to grind, and you know, blueprints and stuff are still very valuable, so you'll still get that PvP, you'll still get the raiding and all that sort of stuff. But if you want that hardcore experience, then you'll generally be able to find it. If you search for a few servers and you find one that's closer to official rates, you'll be able to find it, and I think you'll have a better experience than playing on official in the long run, to be honest. But if you want, you know, 1 times rates and you want to have to deal with cross server raiding and all this sort of stuff, then official may be better for you. Cross server raiding may be a pro or a con on official depending on how you look at it. Forgot to include that, but to be honest, I would think of it as a con, because when we became the alpha of our server, we needed to worry about cross server raiders pretty much all the time, and it was very, very annoying, very time consuming, very stressful, and all that sort of stuff. You may need to try out a few servers to find the rates and rules that you like. Now this is a con, but it's not that big of a con. Of course, it's going to take you a little while to find the right server for you, or you can just join my server. You can join using the link in the description, or go to jaycartere.com/Ark apply. All the information you need is there. But again, you may want way lower rates, you may want higher rates, you may want a lot of different things. So you may need to search for a bunch of servers to find the one that you want. Another con is admin abuse may happen. It definitely may happen. You may find an admin that spawns a bunch of stuff in and comes and destroys your base and, you know, does all this BS and basically just abuses their admin powers. Now that's terrible. That's terrible for the health of the server. It's terrible just for being the player. Like, why would you want to do that? That's not even fun. But it can happen, and you need to find a server with an admin you can trust. And you can trust me, guys. I know I do not engage in any admin abuse on my server. I only spawn things in for community buildings and community events and all that sort of stuff. I do not spawn in things for my own personal benefit, because it's just not fun. Like, I want to play it. I want to play the game as much as you guys want to play the game. I don't want to play the game and be super powered, because then what's the fun there? What's the fun in PvP when you're super powered and everyone else isn't? There's no fun. And the last con that I've got for you guys is the server may shut down and you'll lose all your progress. I think this is probably the biggest thing that stops people playing on unofficial servers, because they know that at any point that server host may not be able to host that server anymore, or they may just get bored of Ark and stop hosting the server. Now my server is going to be up for the foreseeable future. I would highly suggest you come over and join. As I said before, the link is in the description. Stay till the end of the video if you want more information. But if you want to keep a server up and you really like a server, then donate to that server. For example, on my server, we have monthly packages for patrons, and we have a bunch of patrons who do donate and do help keep the server up. And you definitely want to be doing that to help out the server provider, to help keep the server up, and to give the server provider incentive to spend time on creating events and putting time into managing the server and all that sort of stuff. If you don't do that, then you can't really moan when the server goes down. But that's definitely a con. That's definitely something to think about, and I would suggest you looking for a server that is going to be reliable, someone who wants to keep up a server for a foreseeable amount of time that you're comfortable with. And, you know, just don't go into any server and don't actually read up on the server, because you may just find out that 2 weeks later the server's gone down. If you're going to join the server, make sure you join the community, the Discord, look at the website if they got one, all that sort of stuff. Make sure you're checking out all the info, make sure you know who the admin is, make sure you're able to communicate with the admin, which I believe is very, very important. That's why I have lines of communication open on my server, and when we have more players, I'm probably going to add more admins down the road, because, you know, it's a bit much having so many people trying to contact you and, you know, having all their problems and all that sort of shit. So we'll probably add more people in order to offset that at some point. But yeah, my conclusion is that officials are good for large tribes who have a lot of time to dedicate to the game. If you have a lot of time to dedicate to the game and you want that time to be a benefit for you and to help you become successful at the game, then you can play official. But unofficial will work for you just as much, but official is really suited towards larger tribes and people who have a lot of time to dedicate to the game. It's not really based on skill or anything like that. It's based on how much time you dedicate to it. Unofficial servers, on the other hand, are good for people who want to play Ark and still have a life of some sort. If you've got responsibilities, for example, like myself, I'm self-employed, I run a business, I've got the YouTube channel, I've got stuff that I actually need to do on a day-to-day basis. I don't have time to be putting 18 hours into Ark a day. So an unofficial server is definitely way better for me, and I don't want the stress of playing on official and dealing with all that sort of BS. And I generally just believe that playing on official is very unhealthy for your mental health and unhealthy for your personal life and all that sort of stuff, because it just requires so much dedication unless you have like a really active large tribe and you can put in a little bit of hours every day. But that's just my conclusion. Definitely come to your own conclusion based off the points that I've put in this video. Let me know down below, leave a comment, let me know which one you prefer. Do you prefer official servers or do you prefer unofficial servers? And please leave a reason so that people watching this video who are unsure of which one they should pick can see your reason why you prefer your type of server, and maybe that can help them make their decision. Let's have a discussion. Let's get involved. Thanks for watching. Thanks for liking and subscribing, and I'll see you guys in the next Ark Survival Evolved video. If you want less grinding and more fun from your Ark experience, then come and join the Cartere Cartel PvP server today. Use the link in the description to join the server, or go to jaycartere.com/Ark apply and follow the instructions. This is a boosted PvP server, so you don't have to grind for days to have an hour of fun like the official rates. All the rates and more information about the rules and the stats on the server is available at jaycartere.com/Ark apply and in my Discord server. We welcome mature players who don't cry when PvP happens on a PvP server. There will be no salty squeakers allowed. So if that's you, don't even bother registering or trying to come on the server. There are also monthly reward packages for patrons who help support the server. You can see all the available packages on the Patreon page. So please help support the server by becoming a patron at patreon.com/jaycartere. I'll be helping patrons also to grow their YouTube channel. So if you got a YouTube channel and you want to play Ark on your channel, you want to make some videos, you want to grow your channel, that sort of stuff, then consider becoming a patron as an investment in your future, as you can make that back tenfold if you listen to my advice and grow your channel. Now, I will not be giving out Wyverns and Gigas and that sort of stuff to the patrons to ensure that we keep the server balanced. I don't want people to have OP dinos and be able to pay to win. So that's something that I've thought about. So again, use the link in the description and follow the 3 steps to join the server, or go to jaycartere.com/Ark apply. I look forward to seeing you guys there. Let's survive together with less grind and more fun.
It's been a cold winter and it's lasted far too long. So all this warmth I share with